So now we go from Orlando. We're going to go to West Point. Take a little trip to the academy. You know, I like the academy football teams, and I think we're going to talk about a couple of them. But this one here, this is going to be a real interesting look here. You know, I just it's that UTSA team, that San Antonio team, that team that's you know, the coach in his first year, he got there. I'm trying to remember, Trailer is his name. Made him bowl eligible. It's his third year now. And last year, the second year, had a 12-win season. You know, big time, you know, bowl game, which, you know, they got in a pretty decent bowl game last year, which they come out on the short end of that. And then the first year they got bowl eligible, came out on the short end of that. But then they opened up against Houston, which is a tough ask against them, you know. So it's kind of like an in-state rivalry there. But, man, they didn't disappoint in that game. They could have won that game. But it was another one of those games that went down to the wire where, you know, Houston, you know, you said you were on the right side with that. That was one that could have went the other way too. Mm-hmm. And now they got to go up and play at West Point. Now, the thing with Army is, you know, they run the option, and now you got to go on the road. You got an early start. You got a 12 noon start for a team that's going to, you know, do a little bit of travel. Not major travel, but a little bit of travel. But, you know, both of these teams have similar clock management, but in a whole different manner. So, like last week, Army ran 45 plays. UTSA ran 76 plays. And they both control the clock for about 37 minutes roughly. They're both they both get about a 42% third down conversion rate. But the only thing about UTSA, if you get on the red zone, they've given up. You know, every time somebody's gotten in the red zone, they scored. Early sample size here. Army's, you know, had like an 80% what do you call it, conversion rate. And Army runs the ball 80% of the time, where UTSA passes 65% of the time. So you have very conflicting styles here. The angle on this game for me is though the coach has played Army before in his first season. And he got beat up pretty good at home at San Antonio. And then I think one time in the year before they played also Army, and Army come out victorious both times in those games convincingly. So now UTSA goes on the road as a favorite because, you know, recency bias with them. You know, different team, obviously. Same coach, though. So the coaches, you know, went up against Army in the past. And the number, I think we're looking at about a 2.5 point line here. They bet down to 2. So I kind of, even though Army's the big thing with Army is they have a pretty good third down conversion rate, tops in one of the tops, but they give up big chunk plays. So if they can get them in like third and long or third and average, you know, they'll probably have some stops there. But the key for Army is, you know, just keeping them off the field, you know, kind of grinding them out. So I think it's going to take a slower pace. Army's going to be methodical. They're going to have some success, you know, moving the ball. Both teams will. Chunk plays for UTSA, you know, grinded out plays for Army. So you think I would equate that 10 under, but I'm gonna lean towards Army, you know, getting a plus here because, you know, they have the history, they got the style to grind the game out. So I like Army getting the 2 points here, and then a little sprinkle on the money line too.
Well, I'm absolutely eating that, Big Ragu, because I when I looked at that number, the number looked like the wrong team was favored to me. So, you know, I back that 100%. Love that. But
Harris is a nice quarterback for UTSA, but, you know, Army that's the thing with Army. They're running a couple quarterbacks now. So, you know, their senior quarterback is gone from last year. But, you know, the academy teams, they don't have the benefit of the transfer portal. Right, because nobody's signing up to join the Army because they want to play football. You know, their service to our country. Thank the kids for doing that, obviously, first and foremost. But at the same time, you know, they're into their system just like any other system that they're in. But just, you know, they're going with the guys that got them to the party. And by the time these kids step up, and, you know, like some of these guys are 2-year quarterbacks, like the Air Force kid, I think it's 3 years for him. But, you know, they're next up role, and they just kind of play the role and fit in. So it takes sometimes they get up to speed quicker. Other times, you know, it takes a little bit longer. So I think that with this Army offense, I think it's a little bit longer here, but still, you know, they'll go through the progressions and move the football.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, I back that 100%. As a matter